Hey everybody, it's Gypsy, and today is Sunday, October 13th, I believe, 2024. I'm on my way to land at the flea market, so it is time for my flea market drive thoughts. So I had a very interesting day at my booth yesterday. People come into my booth and they're always, oh, it's so pretty, or it's so comfortable in here. It's so cozy in here, I think I'm just gonna hang out here. Things like that. I like the energy in your booth, etc. Yesterday, it was very weird. So, I was sitting in my booth. I was reading a book by Bill O'Reilly called Killing the Witches, which is an historical account of the Salem witch trials. I love history. Very, very interesting. I have mentioned before that spiritually I have a connection to Salem at that time. I'm not going to go into that now because this is about something else. Anyways, these two older women come into my booth and they're looking around. Now, the one woman, she was quiet. She really didn't say anything. But the other woman, boy, was she a talker, and boy, she was a piece of work, people, let me tell you. Let's just say after she left, I felt like I needed to cleanse my booth. Anyways, so she saw what I was reading, and it was like, she was starting to get all like crazy. Killing the witches! Oh my God, what? And I'm like, well, it's not about anything spiritual. I said, it is the historical account of what happened. I said, it's very good. And then she saw the author. Oh, okay, it's by Bill O'Reilly. That's okay then. Like, who the hell are you to tell me what I can and cannot read? Anyways, and then I was telling her that he has a whole series of those books. She's like, really? I said, yeah. I said, someone I know read one of his books called Killing Jesus. She went on, Killing Jesus! Oh my God! I mean, she was losing it. And I said, it is the historical account of what happened to Jesus. And the other woman nodded her head and looked at her and goes, yes, that is what it's about. Then she goes, well, we all know how he suffered. And I'm like, wow. And as you can see, I woke up to thunderstorms this morning. It's very dark. It's like well after 8 o'clock and it looks like nighttime. Anyway, so this kind of attitude went on. The other woman wasn't saying much of anything, but this woman, boy, was she judgmental. Very judgmental. So she says something. I hope you guys can hear me over the rain. She goes, it's very mysterious in here. I'm like, what do you mean mysterious? She goes, well, look at the colors you've got in here. I said, yeah. All this purple and black. I said, yes, those are my two favorite colors. I love the way they look together. Well, see? Like, first of all, this woman does not know, she showed a lot of her ignorance. Every color stands for something. It means something. She did not understand the spiritual meaning of colors. Now, purple represents, well, how do I explain? Like your crown chakra, if you're in the chakras, or your connection to the Creator God. It represents, well, the Creator God. That is why purple is used for royalty throughout history. Now, black, believe it or not, people, black is for protection. Now, when I started liking black, I did not know. I mean, well, I did not know the spiritual aspects of it back then. What I did know is I think black is very classy. And that has a lot to do with how I grew up. You know, my mother's family, they're Sicilian. Well, all of us wore a lot of black and white because it's classy. It looks classy. So when we dressed up, it was like my uncle. I remember him wearing black. I remember him wearing all white. And back in the 70s, he was considered a very, very classy dresser. He was a very good-looking man. Okay, I know this is my uncle on break. Oh wow. You know what? I'm gonna have to cut this off. It's hailing. I don't think you guys can hear me. It was interesting. I haven't seen hail in a while. So, anyways, she went on about the colors in my booth, which everyone else compliments me on. So then she went on to the tapestries on my walls. And I have this one. I bought it in Quartzsite, Arizona. And it is this beautiful tapestry of a wolf howling at the moon. And it says the moon on the bottom. Boy, this is unusual. And she goes, and look at this one, the moon. Well, that's mysterious. You know, being Scorpio, I love anything mysterious. If there's a mystery involved, I'm going to hit my nose in it, okay? So anyways, I do have another tapestry hanging that has pentagrams. And now, the pentagram, for those of you who don't know, is not evil. It is just like the cross or the crucifix. It is for protection. It's also a sign of your faith. But the pentagram is a protective symbol. Okay? Now, if you want to view it another way, that's your thing, not mine. Do not put it on me or anyone else. Okay, so she goes, well, you see that star thing there? That's bad. And I said, first of all, it's called a pentagram. I was gonna tell her what it really is and that it's not bad. Are you wearing a cross or a crucifix, lady? Because if you are, that's bad too. If you want to look at my pentagram that way, because they're both basically for the same purposes. Now, we are not going to go into a religious or spiritual lesson here. Well, it's a spiritual lesson, okay? But I'm not going to get into the technicalities of symbols of the various spiritual paths. So she finally left. I think her friend had to drag her out when she started talking about my pentagrams. Okay, now, for any of you Christians out there who want to start proselytizing on my channel, don't. My channel's not the place for it. I'm going to tell you why. Because I was a Christian for 45 years. Okay, now, after what? Now, most Christians I love, most of my family, they're Christian. I think out of my entire family, there's only 3 of us who are not. Me, my brother, and my niece, okay? So, I have nothing against Christians. I love many of them. But when you have the church as a whole and they get their little mob mentality, bad things happen. Hence me reading Killing the Witches. Well, there's a perfect example there in Salem, Massachusetts alone in 1692. Okay? Not to mention what was going on in Europe at that time and before. But it still happens today. This woman verbally persecuted me yesterday and started judging me. She did show her ignorance because she had no clue, one, who I am, or what any of this stuff means in general or to me. Okay, so after the church, on 2 occasions, hurt me very badly, and then hurt both my children, do you really think I want to have anything to do with you? Do you? That's not loving what you guys do. And I'm not talking about your normal, average, everyday Christian. I'm talking to the ones like the one who came into my booth yesterday. I was very polite and kind to her, even though she was being cold and nasty to me. I think her friend was trying to keep her in check. It wasn't easy for her. Now, the point of this video is we need to stop judging each other. Who are we to judge one another? If your spiritual leader, Jesus, said, "Judge not, lest you be judged," why are you going around judging everyone? He didn't. If Jesus personally came into my booth, he would have treated me much better than that woman did. What happened to me and my children never would have happened if it was Jesus. Okay? So don't tell me how much better your faith is than mine. It is not. My faith isn't better than anyone else's. No one says. We got to stop judging each other. And there is, and especially when it comes to formal religion, and including spiritual paths, whatever, but there is not one on this planet that it has all the answers and is all right and is the way to go. There isn't. Okay. Spiritual growth and spiritual paths are extremely personal. We are all unique spirits having a human experience, and we each require something different for our spiritual growth. And that means both the good and what we perceive as bad. Okay? So, when you are so pretentious that you can go and judge someone else and even lecture them on their own turf, I think you need to start looking in the mirror. Okay, are you following what your religious path tells you to do? I don't think so. Your church might tell you to do that, but I don't think Jesus would. I think we need, like I talked about politically, we need to stop telling each other who we're voting for. It's causing problems in relationships. That's the same thing. We're judging each other on political opinions and ruining relationships. I think that's stupid. But so is this thing with religion, and spiritual paths. I am not a religious person. I'm not. I have always been a very spiritual person. What I'm not is I can't do religion. Oh my God, it puts me to sleep. And if anything separates me from my Creator, well, nothing does it more than religion. Okay, I mean, it just puts such a rift between me and the Creator and my spiritual self. My point is, we need to stop doing that. Now, this person who came into my booth showed me very strongly she has no clue what she's talking about. But it needs to stop. Now, I don't judge people who are Christians. If that is where they need to be for their spiritual growth at this time or any time, then I say go for it. Okay, I don't judge others. In order for me to be so pretentious, I would judge somebody like that, I would have to know everything. And you guys know how I feel about that. I don't know everything. Okay? And the minute I think I know everything is when I should realize I know absolutely nothing. Okay? And that even comes to faith, religion, spiritual things. Now, I am sorry. I mess up a lot of people, and I don't mean to. My life has been much different. I come from a family where naturally we have a connection to the spirit realm. I'm not going to say we're like talking to spirits like all the time and stuff like that, but there's a strong connection. I told you guys my great-grandmother was a healer, and now my cousin is an energy healer. God, is she amazing. I don't really think of myself like this, but my uncle thinks of me as he did his grandmother, my great-grandmother, a healer, using herbs and food and stuff like that. That takes a spiritual connection. And yes, many of us in my family, we can hear and see spirits. I don't use it, like someone else might. But that's just the way I've always been. And it has made me different. Because not everybody in my family is like that. So not everybody understands it. So, yeah, made me different spiritually, physically, like in the physical realm. But the one thing it taught me, I'd say the biggest thing, is don't judge others in any way, shape, or form. But especially on their spiritual path. Never do that. I don't have the right. I don't have the answers. I can't. You just, you have to use your intuition. Is where you are now with your spiritual path, whether it be in a formal religion or not, does it resonate with you? Is it working for you? And if it's working for you, that is wonderful. But what you got to remember is that's not going to work for everybody. Because not everybody is on the same. We are all on different paths. But we're all headed to the same destination. And I'm sorry for those of you who think you're special and going to be the only ones getting into so-called heaven. I got news for you. Okay? It's not true. We're all headed to the same place. Okay? I'm not going to go into the spiritualist view of that because it is very difficult to accept. Believe me, it is. I don't even like to talk about it. With that being said, we need to stop judging each other. I've talked about it with politics. Now I've touched on it with religion. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'd say these women were in their 70s. I don't know. But thankfully, 2 different customers at 2 different times in the afternoon. Both young women in their 20s. Made me feel better without even knowing it. And that's how the universe works. The first one came in and, she had all the piercings all over, including that one in the nose. It's not a ring. I don't know what it's called. The tattoos, things I don't understand. And believe me, I'm no saint. I'm not like, I wasn't straight-laced or anything like that when I was young. It's just a different time, and I don't understand what's in fashion for her generation. But she came into my booth, and she admired what I had for sale. She admired my artwork, the way my booth looked. She started asking questions. She didn't know we were there every week, so I answered a lot of questions for her. And she says, I can't buy anything right now. I don't have the money. She says, but I'm going to come back. And she just made my day. So then a little while later, another young woman comes in. Same style with the piercings and stuff, but they look totally different, She was admiring my artwork. And I had some hand-painted greeting cards, blank greeting cards. I painted the pictures and watercolors in the front. She was looking at those. She asked me how much they were. And I told her they're greeting cards. She goes, really? She goes, oh no. She says, I'm going to frame it and I'm going to hang it in my house. And she said all this after admiring my booth and everything. This is how the universe works. These girls who I'm at least old enough to be their mother, made me feel better, even with that generational gap. But that other boomer came in, forgetting who the hell she used to be. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. I don't know what happened to the older kids in my generation. I used to admire them. Now they're all stick in the muds. I have to rely on young people who are young enough to be my children and grandchildren to relate to. I mean, this is ridiculous. We got to stop judging each other. We do. I don't know. I guess for the older generation, now that they're well over 30, well, they're not going to worry about not trusting anyone over 30, and they're going to become the old curmudgeons. Yes, that's the word that they used to hate. I don't know. I was kind of upset. It didn't let it ruin my day, but the universe brought in those two beautiful young women. And this woman, this older woman, she's leaving my booth and she goes, well, you know, there's light and there's dark. I said, yes, ma'am, I know that. And, you know, we all make the choice of which we're going to follow. I said, right. Now, seeing as I'm running a business there and I don't want to have a bad reputation, I had to control my Sicilian temper. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, that is true. And you have brought darkness into my booth. Can you please leave until you can, like, grasp onto the lights, because I don't like that bad energy in my booth. And oh man, I didn't have anything to smudge with or anything. Yeah, she left a bad energy. But those two young women, beautiful, beautiful souls, they cleansed the energy in my booth just by them walking in. So we need to be more like these young people, open-hearted. Okay, they made my day, because the damage that older woman did in her pretense of a Christian love, those two fixed with, I don't even know if they have a spiritual path at all. It's not my business. I'm going to suspect that whether they realize it or not, they do. Well, we all do. We're all spirits. They made my day. These two young women came in, maybe 20 minutes apart, didn't even know each other. And if these two girls, well, women, I'm going to say, ever see this video, I'd like to thank you too, because you really changed my day. We need to just be more like these two young women in their 20s. Just going about living our life with an open heart, loving everyone, being kind, and not saying, no, you have to see it my way, whether it's politically or religiously. We got to stop that shit. Enough is enough already. That's what causes the problems on this planet. So, I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.